You always felt it, haven't you? That low hum beneath the surface of your days. That quiet longing that rises when you scroll through pictures of fairway mountains or hear the accents of strangers in a crowded cafe. It's not wanderlust, it's a shallow sense, it's something older, something deeper, like a siren song that refuses to let you rest. Then, just as the call begins to stir inside you, fear presses its cold hand against your chest. What if you get lost? What if something goes wrong? What if you're alone? For years, those questions built walls around your life. You stay put, circling the same routines. Home, work, home again. And yet, the whisper never stopped. It grew restless, louder, sharper. One night, unable to sleep, you find yourself staring at the blinking cursor on a travel booking site. A flight, one way, a city whose name you never spoken aloud. And for the first time in your life, you click confirm. The morning of departure feels unreal. The airport hums with muted chaos. Wheels dragging on tile, announcements over crackling speakers, the scent of coffee and jet fuel. You stand there, passport trembling in your hand, and realize there's no one to tell you what comes next, no one to share the weight of this choice. You are both terrified and electrified. When the plane takes off, you stare at the shrinking city lights below and feel a quiet rupture inside you. Something in you is leaving with those lights. Something small and safe. What takes its place is still unknown. Hours later, when the wheels touch down on foreign soil, the air feels different, charged, alive, unforgiving. You step into it like a newborn, blinking into the sun. And through no one knows it, this step will change you forever. You find yourself standing on the Great Wall of China, your breath visible in the mountain air. The stones beneath your feet are worn, smooth from centuries of footsteps. Soldiers, traders, dreamers, invaders, lovers. The wind whips through your hair, sharp and cutting, as if daring you to turn back. Fear still clings to you, whispering in your ear, "You shouldn't be here. You're alone. You don't belong." But then you place your palm against the cold stone and feel its silent defiance. This wall stood through empires that rose and fell through storms and battles. And suddenly you realize so can you. That's the first secret of solo travel. History is everywhere. It whispers not just about the past, but about your place within it. You don't need a hand to hold to feel rooted. The wall itself holds you, and for the first time, you feel strong. Your journey carries you further to Morocco, where the souks of Marrakech opens before you like a labyrinth. The air is a symphony of scents: cinnamon, leather, mint, tea, sizzling lamb. Colors swirl in every corner, spices piled in pyramids, fabrics alive with red and gold, lanterns glowing with intricate fire. At first, the chaos overwhelms you. Vendors call out in languages you don't even understand. You feel every set of eyes on you. The stranger, the foreigner, the one alone feels calls again, but then something happens. A vendor with tired eyes offers you a small cup of tea. You sip, and the sweetness warms your throat. Suddenly, the noise softens into music. You're not lost. You're inside a living story. And the second secret of solo travel, when you strip away the comfort zone, your senses awaken. You notice details: the rustle of silk, the laughter of children, the pulse of drums that others rush past. Here, the tragedy of loneliness transforms into the gift of awareness. Weeks later, you drift into the Maldives, face submerged in crystalline water. Coral gardens bloom below, painted in impossible colors. Violet, sapphire, gold, schools of fish shimmer like living constellations. You float suspended between two worlds, the surface above, the abyss below, and in that silence, you remember every warning you heard before you left home. It's not safe, you'll regret it, you will fail. But here, surrounded by creatures that know nothing of your fear, you understand life is risk. Beauty is risk, and the greatness tragedy is not danger itself. It is never daring to step beyond the known. You surface gasping and the world feels larger and you smaller, but in a way that makes you infinite. But not all is wonder. Somewhere in the middle of your journey, tragedy finds you. It happens in a city whose streets you barely remember. One careless night, a pickpocket's hand slips your bag from your shoulder, vanishing into the dark. Passport, money, everything is gone. Panic swallows you whole. You stumble through alleys, searching, begging for help, but no one answers. For hours you wander alone, heart racing, the first taste of despair, cutting deep. Here is the true test. This is what they never told you in a glossy travel magazine. Adventure demands laws. Solo traveling strips you bare, leaving you with nothing but yourself. And in that moment, you finally see yourself clearly. Vulnerable, trembling, but unbroken. You learn the most tragic, most unnecessary lesson. Resilience is born only in fire, not the embassy, the strangers who help you, the grueling steps to replace what was stolen. They become part of your rebirth. You walk away scarred, but the scar becomes a compass. From there, the world begins to look different. Every face becomes a mystery, every street a story. You meet people who leave marks upon you, some kind, some cruel, some fleeting with smoke. A woman in Istanbul who teaches you a single phrase, her language then disappears into the crowd. A monk in the mountains of Nepal who sits in silence with you for an hour, teaching you, that's right, you, without words. A stranger on a train in Eastern Europe who shares bread with you when you have nothing. Each encounter is both a gift and a ghost. They remind you that solo traveling is never truly solitary. The tragedy is that most of them you will never see again. But the mystery is that somehow they stay with you anyway. By the time months have passed, you no longer recognize yourself. The timid shadow who once trembled at the thought of boarding a plane is gone. In their place stands someone quieter, stronger, forged in solitude and discovery. You learn the subtle craft, how to pack lightly, carrying only what you need, how to listen before speaking so the world reveals itself, how to walk into fear, not away from it. But more than skills, you learn this. The world is not waiting to harm you. It is waiting to shape you. Every tragedy, every mystery, every moment of awe has transformed you, and you realize that solo traveling is not about escaping home. It is about returning to yourself. At last, you return home. The streets you know look smaller. The voices around you seem quieter. People ask how the trip was, and you smile, but you cannot put it into words. How can you explain that you left with fear and returned with freedom? That tragedy followed you, but it did not win. That every step alone became the most profound companionship you've ever known. You realize the greatest mystery of all: home was never a safe place you thought it was. Home is wherever you stand with courage in your heart And so the journey does not end, it never ends. The whisper will call again, the map will unfold again, and you, the solo traveler, will answer. This is your story, your tragedy, your triumph, your transformation. The world awaits for no one but for those who dare to walk it alone. It offers everything. So silence the fear, step into the unknown, and let the mystery of the journey makes you whole again. Please subscribe and comment. Otherwise, see you in the next one.